Now let's take a look at consumer behavior in college sports. College sports are an important part of the American culture. Today we find that so many people tune in and follow what is going on in college sports. An example illustrating this is the Tostitos Bowl Championship Series, also known as the BCS National Championship. On ESPN this year was between Oregon State and Auburn and was watched by an average of 27,316,000 viewers and about 17,718 households, more than any program in the history of cable television. Who is the target demographic for college sports? Well, first of all, we would look at college alumni, people who are married to alumni, children of alumni, the student population, people who are local to the college. For example, people who live close to UCLA would be a good target for the UCLA athletics program. And also, the target demo skews higher in the male ratio, and they have a higher education. They're known for higher in networking, and they are between the ages of people who are 25 and above. Let's take a closer look by looking at the UCLA athletic program. As an athletic program, UCLA focuses on generating revenue. This revenue pays for the school's athletics. This includes coaches, athletic trainers, athletic facilities, etc. When interviewing Scott Mitchell, the head of the UCLA marketing department, he mentioned that there were 5 main funding sources that the marketing team focuses on. These include television broadcast, corporate sponsorship sales, donor solicitations. Also, just what he said was people who donate money from the kindness of their heart, ticket sales, and licensing and concessions. Scott Mitchell mentions, UCLA has developed a strong brand. It stands for people who have integrity, are honest. It's a place where champions are born. Therefore, it is important that it is careful who it associates itself with and who the school athletic department builds relationships with. So how does UCLA reach its consumers? He mentioned that as a marketing team, we must look at our audience and break it into segments. Once this is done, we can accurately advertise to each. As mentioned earlier, the segments would include alumni, people who are married to alumni, children of alumni, students, people who are local to the area. So one example would be that on game day, promotions are made and sponsored by local vendors. These vendors include insurance companies, local dealerships, travel agencies, financial institutions, beer products, etc. As you can see in the images below, there's a creative way in which the advertisers put themselves out there, in which UCLA allows for advertisers to display themselves. One being the State Farm logo that is on the rim of the basket, meaning every time that a basket is shot, State Farm has exposure because of the fact that it is located on the main frame of the screen. Also above, for the actual audience who's there, if you look above on the Tron, the State Farm, Bank of the West, and other companies like Time Warner Cable were advertising themselves throughout the game. Now let's look at how the UCLA marketing department targets each segment that they are trying to hit within the demographics that they reach. The UCLA students, for example, have the opportunity to win free tuition. This is done by an interactive game of a shootout, or also by picking a student randomly based off of their seat number and giving them the opportunity to win a free pizza. Alumni is also targeted through the ability to win a free trip or entering to win a free car from a local dealer like Infinity by participating in a raffle. Young children are exposed to the UCLA brand, you could say, through Joe Bruin, the school mascot, where he is interactive with the kids throughout the game, takes pictures, pumps up the crowd with cheers, etc. And as a whole, all attendees are exposed to the marketing done by UCLA through the interactive use of the Tron, something that is seen above at a basketball game above the game, or at a football game on the side of the stadium, where there's live footage taken of people in the crowd and their interactions with the social event that's going on, which is the sporting event. Now let's look at how UCLA advertises themselves and how they let themselves and their brand known to the people who they are trying to target. One of the examples is that they have the UCLA Monthly Magazine. This magazine is distributed to all UCLA alumni, UCLA students, people who have donated money, and people in the local area, giving them a heads up on what is going on with UCLA, including the athletic department. Another example would be, as in the image shows below, the Daily Bruin. This is a daily magazine that is distributed Monday through Friday at the university, where students are able to see what is going on and be up to date with all the information. Media exposure is huge. This is done through game coverage. The importance of this is because it generates a lot of revenue for the school. However, this is impossible unless you have a winning team. The more games that are won by the different athletic programs like the basketball team or the football team, the more exposure they're in. If they make it to a bowl game, there's more exposure for them and more ways to generate revenue. Another example is also social media. Social media is a huge up and rising thing that is that people partake in, such as Facebook or Twitter, and something that we'll go into in a little more detail a little later. And lastly, there's an image here where it says, what's happening this week at UCLA? Use your cell phone to find out. This is something that also, with the rising technology, UCLA is able to interact with their audience and let them know what's going on through text messages and up-to-date info on their through their phones. Something that is also very important to note is while advertising to the UCLA consumers, or in this as a broader scope, the college level consumers, is their economic status. And we see that Sports Business Daily mentioned, while Americans are more budget conscious through the economic downturn, they did not decrease spending in areas they are most passionate about, and this included sports. The average amount spent on sports for a person between the ages of 25 and 54 was $75 in 2010 by sports fans. The average among young professionals under the age of 30 who were college educated and with a total income of $50,000 for the year would spend on average about $1,143. So listed below is the things that they would spend for the sports related activities. This included sports trips, betting on sports, following favorite teams to away games. It was $199. Occasional tickets to sporting events, $179. Tailgating parties, something very big in the college arena, was $158. So this just let us know that consumers are spending, and because they are spending, there has to be an emphasis on marketing to this group. This also brings us to brand loyalty, something that consumers are very loyal when it has to do with the athletic programs at the college level, because they are alumni, students, or people of the local area. So one of the questions that was posed on a survey that we did was, are college sport fans willing to spend more money for items with the school logo on it, even if they are more expensive? A Facebook survey was conducted, and there were a total of 54 participants. These participants varied from the ages of 20 and 54, and the results were as follows. 48 said yes, 59% of the people. 30% said no, and 11% said maybe. The maybe was dependent on their current budget, if they had the money to spend a little more. An example that was given to them was a $9 generic water bottle versus the $24 same bottle. Only difference was that it had the UCLA Bruin logo on it. And lastly, we look at social media as being the future. Mentioned before was that social media is up and rising. It's one of the factors or ways that school programs can advertise and put themselves out there. So we are aware that social media is constantly on the rise, and they see that there's a need. Scott Mitchell mentioned that as a program, UCLA doesn't focus as much as it should, knowing that of importance of using Twitter and Facebook and other things such as blogs. Our book describes that online social network sites are increasingly popular for book consumers and brands as a way to foster and be connected to a community with similar lifestyles, values, and interests. For instance, in Twitter, it was just a daily, up-to-date posting of things that were happening. For example, something mentioned was congratulations, we made it to the Final Four, or saying that we were going to. Um, Another thing on Facebook was just up-to-date information on game stats. If there's any tickets available, people post it. These people are definitely loyal fans, people who are interested in the UCLA program, and who would want to be up to date with the information. So, as that being said, schools like UCLA or any other college program should definitely focus its efforts on the media and the social media part aspect, not just what is the traditional advertising on print, radio, or TV.